Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everybody had a nice week. I am going to be doing this even though my garage door is open and my dogs are outside, and my dogs sometimes start barking. Usually when I do this, I put them in the garage and I close the door. But because it's so hot out, I don't want to subject them to that. So we'll see how it goes. So I have a bunch of things to talk with you about tonight. I had a couple of things that I hadn't finished, and so I've actually been trying to get those things done. And I did everything I wanted to do except for one thing, and I'll talk about that later. So I've got books, movies, comics, news event thingies. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to start with comics. So I have been reading The Goon, and this is volume 2. Which is, I don't think they say the issue numbers. But this is volume 2, My Murderous Childhood, and I had already talked about the first 3 issues. And so I went ahead and finished this volume. And it starts with chapter 3 in this, which I am not finding the... Oh, maybe it was part 2 of the next book. I can't find the cover. So anyways, maybe that's the cover. I mean, look at that cool art. So it starts off with actually pictures of his child, and then it goes back into Goon's past. So it's like a framing device. He runs away from home and he finds a comic book and he starts reading about Goon when he was a child. And because it's the past, it's going to have this different look. But still, that art is phenomenal. And of course, it's hilarious as always. I'm trying to... Oh, for example, this is referenced at the end of the book. He actually used his child to do that. Sorry. I promise I'm going to get better at this later. Oh, there. So he has this child there, and that's the extras in the back of the book. And he says, so he meets Frankie and he defends him against a gang of bullies. And Frankie says, my favorite part was when you popped his eye out. And of course, that made me laugh. There are just so many funny moments in The Goon. It's, there's a lot of humor that you shouldn't laugh at, but I do. I feel guilty about it, but it's still so funny. I'm going to keep going. I want to showcase the cover art. So the next one, actually, there's an artist in here who, I love that. I love that art piece right there, even though it's in black and white. In the second half of this book, a different artist takes over. And I'm going to say that I did not enjoy that as much because I'm so used to this guy's art style that when someone else takes over, it just didn't feel the same. Although the artist is very good, it's very Kelly Jones-ish. The artist is Kyle Hotz. Not a bad artist. He's just not what I'm used to on The Goon. And so that kind of threw me out of it a bit. And then in the end of the book, you have a sketchbook, which is like really cool. This stuff, I mean, I'm just gaga about this guy's art. And what I love is how he will use different art styles within the same book, which I've said many, many times. So there you go. The Goon, second volume, still great. And I've read that the best stuff is yet to come. So I'm looking forward to that. I recently featured a whole bunch of cards that I got. I'm getting ready to cough. And so I thought, why don't I go ahead and feature a different card set each video. And this is Wolverine's From Then Till Now, set 2. It's a 90 card set from 1992. And I figured I would just grab 10 of the best cards and showcase them, although there are a lot of really great cards. So this one is called Project X. Maybe that's Barry Windsor Smith. I'm not going to try to say all the artists because I'll get them wrong. Although I do know this one. This one is number 20 Hunting, and that is Sam Keith. And this one is from this is called Department H, and this is from the original Hulk, Hulk 181 or 182. I don't know who the artist is on that one. But this one is called Hellfire Club, and this is I'm pretty sure that's John Byrne. I said I wasn't gonna say the artist, but then I go ahead and do it. Here is Grey Hulk. Oh, let's get that. Yeah, that's cool. And here's another one with Mr. Fix-It, and this one is called Patch. Maybe his name is Patch and not Mr. Oh, he's called Patch, and that's Mr. Fix-It, I guess. And then here's another one of my favorites, John Byrne, and this one is called Appeal. And here's a close-up, and this one is called Honor. I would say that's Marco. Yeah, it is. And, of course, this is a very famous cover of a comic, The Future, which, they made the basis of one of the movies. And then here is Barbaric, Wolverine jumping. So let me know if you enjoyed that. If not, I could totally skip that. But each video, I'll try to, focus on one set and, show off some of the art on some of these cards without showing you all 90 cards. All right, I've got books and movies. I think I'm going to be long-winded about the books today, so I might as well go ahead and talk about the movies. So the first movie is one that I own. I have a box of about 50 movies or so that I got super cheap. During the pandemic, a guy was selling them, and I got this one, and so I went ahead and watched it. Did not have high expectations, but boy, was I wrong. This was a fun movie. So this is a spaghetti western, and it's actually number 2 in a trilogy. Now, the only thing that I didn't get done today is I wanted to watch the first movie in the trilogy called God Forgives, I Don't. And I just wasn't able to get to it. But you would think that this movie is only about Eli Wallach, and you'd be wrong. Now, Eli Wallach steals the show. This movie is made by him. He is so good in this. He steals every scene. This movie isn't amazing, but it's so much fun to watch him in this movie. But what you don't see is that there's an actual duo in this movie, and I've got pictures of them. And I believe this is their second movie together, and they went on to make 18 movies together. And I guess they became something of a really popular duo. So let me go ahead and grab the pictures for that. And I even wrote down their names, but I don't have to because they're right here. So here they are. Bud Spencer, which is the more heavyset guy, and Terrence Hill. So they went on to make 18 movies together. And so here's Terrence Hill. Look at those eyes. They're piercing. And there's Bud Spencer. Now, you might think, wow, that guy is handsome, right? But no, this guy got me. He was so good as the giant guy, and I thought in my opinion, he was way more handsome than him. But, of course, I have kind of skewed taste in that department. So, I don't know. Most people would say he's the handsome one, and no, not me. I really wanted to see more movies that starred these two, and it's really funny that these two made 18 movies together, and you'd never know that from the cover of this. It's all Eli Wallach, and it's why? Because he's featured in one of the Sergio Leone movies, right? And so they were going for that, and this is definitely a spaghetti western. But those two were the stars of the movie, and he just comes into the movie, but he kind of takes it over because Eli Wallach is so good in this movie. I'm not going to say this is a highly, highly recommended movie. If you like spaghetti westerns and you haven't seen this one, you really should see it. I enjoyed it. I would say it would be like a 3.5 out of 5. It does drag in parts, but so worth seeing, in my opinion. If you like older movies, spaghetti westerns. And so you'll probably hearing more about Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer in future videos, because I'm definitely going to at least watch the first one in this trilogy. Like I said, it's called God Forgives, I Don't. Okay, so the next movie that I saw was The Beekeeper. So this one, I believe, is on Netflix. And it's an action movie starring that guy. He's so famous. I forget his name. I'm so bad with names. But anyways, it's an action movie on Netflix right now, I believe. Or did I watch it on Max? If you like action movies, you'll like this. It was fun. So, there's a secret operative. There's this group of highly trained individuals, and they're on nobody's radar. Their identities have been erased, and there's a secret organization. And blah 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 blah. It's like the same thing over and over again, but it really did have good action sequences in it. But in the end, it was an action movie about someone who wanted revenge, and I would say that this is 3 out of 5. Unless you really like that type of movie, then you have to watch it. You really do. The third movie I watched, unfortunately, was called Made in Italy. Now, I started watching this. My husband put it on while we were eating, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." It's got Liam Neeson in it, and at first I thought, "Ugh," I could see everything coming, like everything that he did, but it was well done. So then I was like, "Hey, let's watch this together. Let's finish it later." And so he turned it off and turned something else on, and then we went ahead and watched it, and it got bad. It's not poorly acted. It's just I'm not somebody who likes romantic comedies too much, and it did have its moments. It's not a bad movie. It's just not my type of movie. If you like romantic comedies, then you will like this movie. Especially, I actually really liked some of the side characters in this movie, but it's got beautiful locations. It takes place in Tuscany. But yeah, it's just not my type of movie. It didn't win me over. I thought it did at the beginning, but then in the end it didn't. So I would have to say that this is a 3 out of 5. I'm being harsh because I just don't like this genre of movie. But if you do like this genre of movie, you'll probably like it. And that takes care of my movies for this set. You know what? I have this camera in a weird angle. I just wanted to do something new, but I'm not comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and get comfortable. So try to do something new, but yeah, that was hurting my back a little bit because I was sitting at a weird angle. Okay, so let's get rid of the comic. All right, so what do we have next? Books. So the first thing that I wanna start with is a friend of mine. She wrote me that the New York Times put out a list of the 100 greatest novels of the 21st century, and I love lists. I have to sit up because wait, let me get on my legs because I'm too low in the screen. There we go. That's better. I love lists. And the best thing about this is that they were releasing 20 per day. And so they finished it this morning, releasing the final 20. And as I was going through it, I made a list on Freeform. I love the Freeform app, so I'm going to go ahead and show that. Let's see. There we go. So it looks like that. So if you can see it, everyone that's checked, those are books that I read. And I ended up having read about 29. There's a couple I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I read, and there were a couple others that I thought I'd read, but I didn't go ahead and check them. So it kind of balances out. But I'm going to say right around 29 books. And so I can zoom in a little bit there. That's why I love this Freeform app. And like I said, this is available on the New York Times website. If you're interested in literature at all, you should scroll through this. I'm going to use this as a basis of picking some books. In fact, I've already picked 3 or 4 on this list, and I went ahead and listened to one that was on this list. I grabbed a couple of the shorter ones, and I went ahead and listened to one, and I'm going to be talking about it in a little bit. So there you go, the New York Times best novels of the 21st century. What was number 1? One that I wouldn't have picked, but it was a very good book. And that was Elena Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend, which was the first of a 4-book series. And it's a really, really good book. I wouldn't have picked that for number 1. I would have more likely have picked either what came in at number 3, Wolf Hall, or Cormac McCarthy's The Road. They just appeal to me way more than Elena Ferrante's novel at number 1. But, I'm not the person that chose these. So I was very happy that my favorite writer, Kazuo Ishiguro, he came in at number 9. So very happy about that. All right, so what book did I grab from this list? And that was The Friend by Sigrid Nunez, coming in at 68. Now, this was a pretty short book. It was 5 or 6 hours long. And so let me go ahead and go back to my photos. There's the book. It actually won the National Book Award. And so as you could tell from the cover, it's about a dog. Now, I had a couple problems with the book, but overall, this was a very, very enjoyable book. Although enjoyable is weird to say. What problems that I had with the book? The writer references other works and kind of spoils them. So, for example, she goes to a movie and she tells the whole plot of the movie because it's relevant to what she's discussing, but she goes and she even tells the ending of the movie. She does the same thing. She references one of my favorite novels, right? And that's Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee. And, of course, I've said before, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Could be Coetzee. Sorry. But I'm going to say J.M. Coetzee, and that's Disgrace. I've read this twice, and I usually don't read books twice. I may have read this 3 times. I love this book so much. But there's a character in the book, The Friend, and she goes ahead and compares him without this. She does describe the guy, right? But she most often equates him to the character of this book and says why, which to me, I mean, that is a more modern style of writing, I guess, but it's also kind of sloppy, in my opinion. But putting that aside, this is a very good, this one is a very good book. It's short. It's about a woman who has to take a dog in, and her relationship with the dog and what it's like living with the dog, and how this dog helps her get through grief. So that's all I'm going to say about the book. I do recommend it. I would give it a 4 out of 5. But like I said, it references this. It references a movie, and then it also references another book which I've had on my radar for a long time, and I went ahead and read it. And that is My Dog Tulip by J.R. Ackerley. Now, this was made into a movie, an animated movie, and it's got some heavy hitters in it. So the animated movie stars Christopher Plummer, Lynn Redgrave, and Isabella Rossellini. The problem is this movie is not available. You can't stream it. You can't buy it on streaming. And if you want to buy it at all, you're going to buy a foreign copy, and it's going to cost you a lot. Now, if ever there's an argument for physical media, it's this. This is a movie that I've been wanting to see for a while. It's got these amazing people in it. It's got great reviews, and it's just not available. So, like, I just read the book, and now I would like to see the movie, but I can't. So anyways, what's interesting about this movie is I'm going to read you just a little bit. It's from 1956, and it says an account of living with J.K. Ackerley, so it's a memoir, of living with his dog, Queenie. Now notice it's called My Dog Tulip, and it was written in 1956. Her companionship enabled him to give up seeking casual sex. And the funny thing about this is filled with sex. It's all about the minutiae of his female dog and what it's like for her to go through heat repeatedly, to have pups, but there's a lot more to it than that, and it's his relationship with the dog. And he really becomes an observer, and he really wants to understand because he loves his dog and he wants to give her the best life possible. And what he does and how he feels he messed up with that. And what's really poignant is when he comes into other contact with other dog owners and what they're like, and he like writes what they do. It's pretty sad. But the dog's name was changed to Tulip in the title, because they became concerned that using the name Queenie might encourage jokes about Ackerley's sexuality, which, you know, it was fair for the time, but to me it's quite sad. I wish they would actually rename the book My Dog Queenie. I mean, I think they need to do that, but I mean, what's done is done, right? But again, it's sad that we know he's gay now, and I don't think people would really make fun of him anymore. It's just like, but they keep calling it My Dog Tulip, when I think they really should, you know, change it back. Okay, just a little aside there. So, My Dog Tulip. So those were the 3 books that I read, and they all went, like, it was because of the New York Times book review. I started reading, oh no, I didn't talk about one book. All right. So, yeah, this one's the big one. So, as you know, I've made a commitment to read 1 book per week. And since I had the week off, I decided I didn't want to do a short book. I wanted to actually do a book from my SF Masterworks series. Now, this book is called Random Acts of Senseless Violence, and it's by Jack Womack. And I don't know, something about the cover really caught my eye when I first saw this book. And I try to buy as many books as I can in this series. Now, the weird thing is that I've already read this book, and I didn't remember it, and which is strange because this is such a good book. Now, I'm probably going to go on too much about this book, but this book is phenomenal. Now, Jack Womack is always lumped in with, what do you call neuromancer people? Steampunk? No. Cyberpunk. I think it's called cyberpunk, right? Whatever neuromancer is. And I did not like neuromancer at all. So I was kind of skeptical about that, but I wanted to read it anyway. And this is not cyberpunk at all. This is near future dystopian. And I don't know how I can do this book justice. This thing's a masterpiece. And I do not know why more people don't know about this book. Number one, this should be on every queer lit majors reading list. I mean, it's really well done. This character is a 12-year-old girl who writes, it's epistolary, so it's written in diary format, and the author makes this girl come to life. Like, she is believable. I do not know how this writer did it. And I thought that the first time I read it, and I can't believe I didn't know that I had read this already. But this book is so good. It's realistic. And what's really interesting about it is it's not far future dystopian. It's like something that could happen next week, because you see the downfall of a family. They're spiraling downward, and how every little step that's taken, it happens in New York. How they, the father loses his job. He can't get any more work, and the mother can't work. And they try to do side jobs, and those dry up. And then they have to move, and then there's a younger sister, and then they have to move. They have to move neighborhoods, and how that affects their standing at the private school that they go to. And she starts meeting new friends. And what's really, really cool about this is the voice of the narrator changes throughout the book as she's interacting with her new friends and as her life changes. I just can't say enough. Like, this writer nailed it. It is such a good book. Now, so I'm going to say, my foot's falling asleep because I'm sitting on it. Sorry. I'm going to say this is a 5 out of 5 book. This book, everybody should read it. It's so good. It transcends genre. This could have been a Booker Prize winner. This could have been a Pulitzer Prize winner. This should have won literary awards. I've read so many award-winning books that are not as good as this book, but because it's science fiction, it probably didn't get the recognition it deserved. And it came out in 1993, I think. Oh wait, it did win the Philip K. Dick Award. Oh no, a different book of his won that. With Elvis. I'm not sure exactly when this book came out. It says 1993. Okay, so I wanna read you a review that someone wrote, and I mean almost everybody that I looked up and researched loved this book. They couldn't say enough good things about it, but it's very unsettling. This book is not, I mean, the name of it is Random Acts of Senseless Violence. There's blood on the cover. Who thinks that this is about daisies and roses and butterflies? I mean, going into reading that, who thinks that? Does this look like an uplifting book to you? No, I mean, come on, no. So I have to read you this review. So this reviewer gave it a 1 star. And I'm going to read this to you because I don't understand this person at all. So tough to rate. Number 1, exquisite writing, mind-blowingly marvelous. The shifting voice of the main character is compelling and utterly believable. She gave it 1 star. The book kept me up all night. This is number 2. I was unable to stop reading because I had to find out about Iz and Boob and Lola. That was number 2. She gave it a 1 star. At the same time, I hated the plot. Okay, well, she says she hated the plot. I'm not saying it was a bad plot. It was gripping and perfectly structured. You gave it 1 star. It's no mean feat to give the reader 5 assassinated presidents in a year and yet feel realistic. But I felt constantly nauseated and on the verge of tears. When I finished, I had to speak rather strongly to myself because that's ever-present siren call of oblivion. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving it 1 star because I genuinely wish I hadn't read it, and the world seems vastly bleaker today. This doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's a brilliant book that bewitched me and made me hate it. Oh my God. So is this person stupid? How can you give a book where you just gave it so much praise 1 star? I can't understand that. Not all pieces of art are supposed to make us feel good. Is that how you judge? You just said how brilliant this book is. And you give it a 1 star? Like, it's so mind-blowing. So that made me angry. This is such an amazing book. Spoiler, everybody, it's not a feel-good book. It's not a romantic comedy. It's called, I can't even read, Random Acts of Senseless Violence. I just, like, people online, like, this person seems intelligent. How can you give a book like that 1 star? Give it 5 stars and say, caveat, you're not going to feel good at the end of this. I'm like, this person, like, real good thing I crossed out the name because I didn't want to. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm done with the books. Highly, highly recommended. 5 stars. This book is phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right. Next. I talked about it. Oh, Mondo. This is for comic lovers. Mondo put out some gorgeous posters. They're $80 each. Look at that. Man, if I were rich, I'd buy that in a hot second. Look at that, $80. Next, we have this one also for $80. I mean, that is a crazy good cover. $80 for that. And it's also got, like, I think, like, foily stuff on it. And this one's $100 because it's the print of it. That one's $20 more. And then they also have some older ones that they have. So this is Swamp Thing number 9. So these are all available on the Mondo website. It's $80. I love how they say pre-order, almost gone. Pre-order, almost gone. All right, and here's another Simonson Thor. I mean, that's a great cover. $80. So if you had the choice, which one would you buy? This one for 80, 100, 80, 80, 80. I actually think I'd go with the Kirby. I probably would. I mean, that's just so awesome. But anyways, I'd love to know which one you would buy. But Mondo. So I found out from my friend Judy, who I also mentioned that Shelley Duvall died. And this is something that Morn Assad posted, right? Shelley Duvall. So famous actress from The Shining and what have you, so many, like Godfather. Oh wait, that's Talia Shire. She's not in The Godfather. Sorry. But yeah, famous actress who's, Popeye. She was in Popeye, right? And also she was in the fairy tale shows. I don't know her later career too much. But yeah, Shelley Duvall died. So I'm sure most people have heard about that already. On Sunday, I reached out to Guz69, and he's going to do one of our Switch shows. So I gave him something to listen to. And usually it's out of our wheelhouse, but this time I gave him Diamanda Galas, and he gave me a popular, like one of the real popular, like, it's not, I don't know, it's not called heavy metal anymore. I'm going to be talking about it, but he gave me a really popular metal band, and I've been listening to their album for a week, and we're going to premiere our shows on Sunday, so look forward to that. Alex Ross. This surprised me, so I'm going to go ahead and open up this web page. So Alex Ross has a collector's club. Now, I absolutely love Alex Ross. Now, what it is you pay $200 per month, and you get a box. In that box, you get all of these things in it. You get at least one slab that's 9.8. You get an exclusive fine art print. You get 3 Alex Ross comics, 1 signed. You get mystery monthly swag like buttons, pins, stickers, and more. Early access to exclusive prints and variant comics. And 1 random box gets a signed original sketch. 1 member each month. So, I mean, I love Alex Ross. Absolutely. But $200 a month, I can't afford that, number one. And I mean, when I look at this, I mean, that looks amazing. I'd love to get that box. But what I'm thinking is, over time, won't this like flood the market with his stuff? I don't know. It's so weird. Like when you get the box, you can see the different stuff inside of it. And you never know what you're going to get, right? Like the comic that you get in a slab, for example, yeah. Well, I just wanted to point out that Alex Ross has a monthly collector's club box. Maybe one of you out there or 2 of you would like to join it. I don't know. I can't. If you do, you can send me something for having suggested it to you. You feel free to do that. Post office story. Okay, so I had a box ship. I'm so low on this seat. I'm like, I need to be like this. Maybe I can lower this just a bit. All right, there we go. So I had a box sent to me from my friend's house in Pennsylvania, and it was mostly all the stuff that I had in his closet, and then some stuff I bought. And so I go to the post office, and I know media mail, right? And so I have 2 small packages and the box. And so I put the box on the table, and she first, the post office worker, scanned an address, and the address wasn't going through. So I was looking up the address, and while I was doing that, she asked me what's in the box. And so I said, oh, books and magazines. And she stopped, and she's like, oh, you can't send magazines, media mail. And I was like, oh my God, because the media mail box was $35, the price. And then without media mail, it was $150 to send this box, all because I said there was magazines in it. Now, there was so much crap in this box. There were cassettes, there were trading cards, there were magazines, there were magnets, there was like everything you could think of was in this box. But I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, I was really distracted, but there are no magazines in this box, I guarantee you. She's like, and she called the another post office worker in the back, and she called him to like, he's saying that there aren't, but he already said that there were magazines in this box. And I said, look, if you want, we can open it right now, and I will show you that there are no magazines in this box. I was totally bluffing. There was all kinds of crap in this box. I was like, I don't mind opening it and showing it to you if you want. But I was distracted because I was looking up an address, and I didn't really think, it's just old books. And so she said to me, well, this box is definitely going to be inspected. I hope you know that. I'm like, that's okay. And number one, we were getting ready to leave, and I didn't want to carry this box. I just wanted it gone. I didn't want to have to take it to another post office and go through all of this. So they finally took it, and I was very happy. It arrived, and it wasn't broken or anything. Nothing inside it was broken. I sent it for $35, but I know I did I was bad, but I did not want to pay $150 for this box when I could pay $35. So that was my post office story. So I just wanted to share that with you. And Scott at No Solution, I kind of told that story for you. So I'd love to know what you think about it. I'm sure you come across bad. What would be postal customers all the time? I'm a bad postal customer. You know what? I had one more thing to show you, but I didn't open it up. And that is, there are some Superman cards, regular playing cards, and I didn't pull it up though, so I'm not going to do that. Last thing I'm going to do before I say goodbye is I'm going to check my photos to make sure that I showed you everything. Oh, I did show you those two. Yeah, I believe I did. So that is the end of my Friday night chats. I hope everybody has a really, really good weekend. It's still boiling hot here in Los Angeles, but I'm hoping that as we go along, the temperature is going to ease a bit, but we're still, kind of in the middle of the summer. Please go ahead and leave any comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And again, I want to thank everybody for your support. You know what? I think my catchphrase, you need to be more intelligent, I think I'm going to lay that to rest now, because I don't think people really understand where that came from. I'm going to explain it one more time. So I did a heavy metal album, like I reviewed it. And when I review albums, I really don't research them too much. I more go on how they feel, how they sound, right? What impressions they give to me. But a fan of the album got after me because I think I said it was their first album when it had been their second. And he said, you really need to do your research. You need to be more intelligent. And I was like, okay. And so my friend, Judy, again, she was like, I think it was Judy. It might have been somebody else. But he or she said, you should make that your catchphrase because it's pretty funny. And it was, but I think I'm going to lay it to rest now because people, they don't remember that. And I think it sounds like I'm trying to be condescending to you. Like, you need to be more intelligent out there. And no, that's not what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that catchphrase to rest. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find a different one to offend you for a while. And then we'll go from there. But as always, I do want to say thank you for all of your support.